Tuesday's Guardian is focusing on Priti Patel, who is familiar with the saying, you quit while you're ahead, Josh.
Yeah, well, the other way I always look at it is like every time I get a sense that a girlfriend is going to dump me, I got to get that dump in earlier.
Yeah.
So whatever. So yeah, she's
she
quit
was obviously out,
before
wasn't she? Yeah.
she was going. Obviously, she's too loyal part of Boris Johnson's. I think
and not a particularly popular. Although it's hard to tell how popular she might have been.
Also, I didn't realise she'd been in, for Home Secretary for 3 years, which is like, it seems like a long time compared to everybody else. She's gone. She's defending Rwanda right to the end as she goes. She's saying,
but it's unlikely to survive her, I think, isn't it?
No. I mean, there's the next story. You'll see what's happening in court.
Right.
But also the Refugees Minister, Richard Harrington, he's also quit, saying that his job is essentially complete because we don't have refugees anymore. We have illegal immigrants.
Yes. Yeah,
that's the official new policy.
He's overseen that transition. Is he a lord anyway? Isn't
yes, he? Lord. But here they didn't give him. They didn't give him the lord in the Guardian. Gosh, Guardian.
How dare they?
What do you think of Priti's departure?
Well, like you say, she's jumped before she was pushed, like a migrant from a dinghy, perhaps. But you can't. Just thought I'd go with that. But I don't know how people are quite anti-Patel, aren't they? But you don't know how much it's her fault that you can't really get anything done in government these days. She had the ECHR to deal with. You know, I hope Sola Braverman's going to be good because I wanted her to win initially the leadership. So she's probably going to replace her. But will Braverman even be able to do anything? Because she recently had her own department go to that queer something or other that she didn't want them to go to, a woke meeting or something. So I just sometimes wonder if any of these people actually control their department.
Well, they call it the blob, don't they? And it's considered the great enemy of the Tory government is the blob. It's not the Labour Party. It's not the people in opposition. It's Whitehall. It's the civil service who are traditionally there from the days of Yes Minister and probably long before that are there to put the brakes on any kind of legislative programme that the government have, but particularly opposed. Have been swollen by the
You'd
Blair,
like to think that it's Yes Minister times, because that lot seemed actually quite smart.
Yes.
And it seemed like they knew what they were doing, whereas you suspect it's more going to be sort of the Armando Iannucci people running around like headless chickens.
Yeah, I think that's
Think
probably
of it
true.
slightly. Yeah.
But yes, well, good luck, Ms. Braverman, if indeed it is you. On to Tuesday's Mirror now, and Rwanda may not be the idyllic utopian country we thought it was, Nick.
Well, yes, government ignored serious warnings over Rwanda's human rights record, court told. Of course, this is the first day of the week-long showdown in the High Court over the policy, this Rwanda thing that didn't even happen. But basically, they're trying to... It seems like the Foreign Office are trying to say, look, it was Boris's idea. He showed a particular interest in it, as did Patel, in pushing this policy, whereas they raised questions and said, look, Rwanda's not this great place. It's a one-party authoritarian state with extreme levels of surveillance, a bit like the UK under lockdown, you know what I mean? London has one of the highest levels of surveillance in the world, and we only have a choice between the fake Tories and Labour. So, yes, that's basically what it seems to me. They're trying to say, look, we never liked this Rwanda thing. It was always Boris and Patel.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, well, look, when it happened, everyone was like, oh, look at all these photos and look how great it is over here and why is everyone kicking up such a fuss and the HRC and all whatever. And it turns out, actually, maybe Rwanda's not such a great place.
Well, I think it was always intended to be a deterrent, really, wasn't it? But they couldn't they couldn't say, if you come here, you're only going to end up there, so don't bother.
But maybe too much of a deterrent.
Yeah.
It's the thing. They're going to a country where they torture and murder opponents or whatever.
Yeah.
Have a history of that. It's not good.
There's always going to be a little bit of that. There's always going to be a little bit of that, I think, in the wherever you should.
We're still not. I mean, still, there is no solution, and they're saying that still thousands came over today or something.
I was speaking to a friend who was speaking to some mercenaries who used to work for the British Army, and they said just dump them on a beach in France. You violate airspace, but once they're there, they're France's responsibility legally.
Again,
and so what are you going to do?
Sending them back to France. That's your.
That was their plan, not my plan. They said put them in a helicopter, put them there, and then it acts as a disincentive. What's your plan?
Well, it's interesting, Nick, because my mercenary friends, what they said to me...
Just intercept the boats halfway across, I mean, I think that's what they've got to start doing, isn't it?
Isn't that what they're already trying to do, though?
No, they don't intercept them at all, do they? They're going to bring them in. I would probably anchor a couple of disused ferries or something like that about halfway out into the channel and just intercept them and put them on there.
I don't know, what about Isle of Wight?
that probably is how the Isle of Wight started, wasn't it? If you dig down deep into the topsoil, you probably find that's rusted iron underneath. Some people have suggested that in seriousness, haven't they?
Yeah, so they're saying, like, do it to a British territory or a British island or something, Falkland Islands or whatever it is.
I can't imagine the Isle of Wight would be very happy about it. I mean, there are people there, you know, turn it into a new Falklands.